activated.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. Live from Free Cup Studio in Seoul, this is the GSL.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another day of the GSL Code S. Again, third time in a row, a kick-ass group here in the round of 16.
Indeed it is. Our last two Terrans are fighting for survival in that round of 8, or we might have a round of 8 without a Terran player, which would be crazy.
It's funny, we've had periods where it was super Terran dominant in the GSL Code S. This may be a season where that is not the case.
That's all right. You know what? I would imagine that Maru will get out of this group and we'll have an only Maru as a Terran player round of 8, and it won't be so different from many Heart of the Swarm tournaments that we saw way back in the day.
Good day, man.
Maru, the sole survivor oftentimes. Of course, GuMiho is here tonight, as well as a couple Protosses, which would be funny if it's a 4 Protoss side of that bracket.
It's very possible, though. So here's our lineup today. GuMiho Classic, Dear Maru. This is actually a very tough group to call. People have been tweeting at me, I'm hearing every possible combination of player getting out.
Oh, yeah? What do you think, though? That's what I want to know.
I think Deer will probably be the first to be knocked out.
Okay.
And I actually think it's going to be our 2 Terrans advancing.
Whoa,
Yep,
you're
right.
crazy.
I'm crazy,
you're
man.
Crazy.
I think it's going to be GuMiho Maru.
No,
I'm
Classic is getting out of this group, and Maru's getting out of this group. All right, I'm going home. I'll see you guys later. It's pretty clear to me.
No, man. I mean, I think you cannot count GuMiho out now after how dominant he was last year. Anyways, we got a quick video, then we'll go to the show.
이제 시드권자로 이제 C그룹에서 경기를 치르게 되는데요. 약간 좀 고민이 좀 깊어진 것 같아요.
정말 뽑을 사람이 너무 없어가지고
네.
한번 물어보고 싶어요. 들어오고 싶은 사람이 누가 있는지 여기.
스칼렛은 뭔가 원할 것
박명호!
솔직히 병재 형이 저한테 좀 많이 졌잖아요. 그래서 복수하는 기념으로다가 이제 16강에서 한 판 하는 건 어떤지.
와, 스칼렛 고병재.
싫어.
아, 싫어. 예, 싫어. 김도우 선수 한번 마이크 잡아줘. 김도우 선수가.
뽑으면 좀 복수하고 싶어가지고
진지한 것 같은데요?
네, 진지한데? 주성우?
프로토스의 가능성이
박명호? 설마? 아, 진짜 김도우! 역시.
우선 저기 AB조의 SK 애들이 있잖아요.
네.
걔네 피한 것만으로도 지금 너무 기쁘고 솔직히 오늘 또 좀 망할 줄 알았는데 이 정도면 만족합니다.
어떤 정도로 생각하고 계신데요?
테란이나 저그 생각하고 있는데 신영이가 둘 다 생각하고 있어가지고 신영이가 좀 변수인 것 같아요. 말을 좀 안 듣는 스타일이어가지고
피카드로 지금 한희석 선수와 스칼렛 선수를 올려놓고 있거든요.
제가 김도우 선수를 잘 못 이기겠더라고요.
Hey, classic.
네.
Protoss, good.
Good.
You can beat alive, but Zerg, you know, scary. Oh, you know, Broodlord?
What are you doing? 김도우 선수가 선택한 세 번째 선수는요.
자신감이 있을만 하거든요. 대신에 건드리지 않을.
한희석.
솔직히 자신 없는데
네.
솔직히 또 그렇다고 막 못 이기겠다 정도는 아니에요.
D조를 올 프로토스조로 만들 것인지 아니면 여기서 프로토스 데리고 올 것인지 한희석 선수 손에 모든 게 달려 있습니다.
솔직히 저 두 선수 뽑아서 솔직히 자신 없어요. 근데 저는 신영이가 그냥 저대로 굳히어 갈 것 같아서 신영이 형인데 알아서 하겠죠. 알죠?
김효진.
그렇죠.
D조는 다리가 또 만났고 조성주 선수 마이크 한번 잡아주시고 어때? 조성주 선수 그나마 좀 웃음을 찾았네요.
여기 옆에 안 간 게 천만 다행이에요.
아니
정말 아무것도 모르는 시리즈 때문에 지금 너무 재밌어요.
아무것도 몰라요 저기는 이제.
모르겠어요. 저도 미쳤나 봐요.
미쳤어요. 아니 얘기를 해요. 어떻게 보냈나? 지금 이라는 기회잖아. 선택하기 전에.
아니 지금 C조는 아무것도 몰라요.
몰라 저기는 아무것도 몰라요.
지금 행복하잖아요.
네.
뭔 계속
아니 빨리.
좀 어이가 없네요.
어이가 없어요 지금. 진짜. 진짜로요?
못 참죠.
에?
밖에서 해결해야죠.
앞으로 신영이 형은 형이 아니라
네, 신영아라고 부를게요.
가까운데요. 이렇게 되면 이렇게.
All right, we're moments away from starting this match. Cannot wait. Again, though, this is a tough one as far as who's going to get out. All these players are so storied.
Yeah.
Deer especially, somebody who was the first Royal Roader, right? In the GSL, is that correct?
Oh, I don't believe he was the first
No,
one.
he was the second.
Yeah, I think so. I think Life might have been the first.
Yeah, I think that's right. Somebody who was so dominant for a long time, but has not been able to
Technically, the early champions, many of them were Royal Roaders, but does that really count?
I don't think that really counts. I think a couple years in, then when we get somebody who's brand new who can actually win, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But a player like Deer, who's for a period in time, it was crazy how dominant he was. He's been trying to get back into that. That phase again here, but this is like the toughest group ever. Classic, someone who's been killing it this year, has had a very strong showing, especially in Legacy of the Void overall. GuMiho, a GSL Code S champion, when really I think a lot of people were not expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
And I think Maru is someone who needs little introduction. All around incredible Terran. Truly an inspiration if you're trying to learn that race.
Kind of funny, right? Because you look at this and you're like, well, I mean, Maru is the most storied player, right? He's the only one in this group that's not a GSL champ.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that weird?
3 GSL champions and Maru, yet I feel like
probably
in
the
some
most
way there's
deserving.
more people excited about Maru than these other guys.
Well, I guess other than Sue, in my opinion, I think maybe Maru is the most deserving of a GSL championship.
This happens with some of these players where we talk about them, how dominant they are, yet they haven't accomplished what some of these other guys have. The GSL Code S championship, the most sought-after thing in StarCraft 2 as a professional gamer. And, we only have 3 a year. These guys put a lot of pressure on each other. This tournament unique from other StarCraft 2 tournaments in that it takes weeks to complete. You have so much time to research your opponent. Yes. You have so much time to research your opponent. You have time to try to figure out different strategies on the maps, try to counter their play styles, maybe pull out a strategy they've never seen, maybe something you can only do once. And the group stages of the GSL are incredibly grueling, having to learn all these different matchups, different possibilities that can come out. It's not until you get to that round of 8 where you finally just get to try to train for one specific opponent.
That round of 8 coming up very quickly here. Really kind of hoping that at least a Terran gets out of this group. I think it'll happen, but I don't know if it's going to be this GuMiho kid, man. You really have just... I do hand it to you. Since he's won, you've given him respect every time. You're always like, yeah, GuMiho's going to make it. Yeah, GuMiho's going to do this.
I spent about 7 years being like, he's going to lose this time. It's GuMiho. He's a great player. I have a lot of respect for him, and he doesn't make it. So I'm treating that last GSL Code S victory in the finals with a little bit more weight.
Yeah, well, you know what I treat with a lot of weight is Classic. The wind toss himself, for many years, the most underrated player in the world, I think, because people never really name him. But he's got 2 BlizzCon top 4s, SSL win, IEM win, GSL win, and these are all super stacked tournaments. What else can this guy really do? This is not the type of group, in my opinion, that will eliminate Classic.
I think you're right. A Classic probably the closest playstyle to maybe SOS, and certainly not like a Diet SOS, maybe more like a Cherry SOS.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. Storm Gaming, GuMiho.
Wouldn't it be crazy if he won another GSL right now? If he just won this season straight up, it would be actually such an impressive feat.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not expecting him to win.
No.
Again, I can't imagine it.
No, I can't.
But maybe that's just because we've had so many games of him where we've sort of typecasted him as a round of 8 player, sometimes a round of 4. But when you really look at how many GSL Code S's has GuMiho been in? So many.
Yeah, it's something like 16 or something.
Yeah,
like
it's an incredible number. I guess we shouldn't have been surprised when he did, in fact, win a GSL Code S.
He's an extremely good player, and he's actually one of my favorite Terran players. So I'm going to say that and then say something not as nice about him. I see him as a one championship player. He won his GSL. I actually don't think he's ever going to take another big tournament. I mean, I would be delighted to be wrong about that. But yeah, it's okay. We're making some connections here.
That's right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe, and I oftentimes doubt him in a group like this because I look at those other 3 players. I'm like, these are some solid-ass players. These guys are all top 8 guys. Maru, Deer, Classic. These are top 8 names.
Yeah.
Like, all 3 of them, you look at them, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, and GuMiho, yeah, he gets top 8 sometimes. And he's very good, but, like, I mean, I don't know, the solidity of these players. Yeah, and he's a player that very heavily does rely upon his strategies, right? What strategies is he going to bring here to get out of this group?
Well, he's had a lot of aggressive openers, not ones that are necessarily intended to kill the player. If they do, that's great, but a lot of times it's to control the options that they have in the game. And that's definitely one way to play StarCraft, is to not play a withdrawn defensive macro game, but instead to be constantly leaning on your opponent and forcing them to answer everything you're throwing at them and eventually navigate the game to a place where you want it to be and then try to dominate from there. And we've seen that a lot with him. He was a big fan of being aggressive with Cyclones, especially.
Certainly.
And a lot of just doing a drop while his opponent's on 2 bases, which for a while actually seemed to be not working out as well since so many players got good at defending that. If you're on 2 bases, that's basically the minimum for trying to defend anything in StarCraft 2, but he would make it work.
Yeah. By the way, a couple Hellions popping out here. I guess 2 Adepts is going to be a pretty good defense. But some of these Hellion builds, we saw Protoss walling quite a bit against Terran to prevent probe death. But if the Adepts are out of position, definitely a lot can happen here.
Okay, look at this.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
He's going to go right up the ramp.
This could be serious damage.
He baited the Reaper, or excuse me, the Adepts over there with the Reaper. Now, this is only 2 Hellions, so they can't kill things that quickly. And with now just 1 remaining, he needs to at least get 1 more. This doesn't quite pay for itself.
Yeah, it's not perfect. I think that this was still okay, though. Like, a little bit of lost mining time, 3 probe kills, and he gets a full scout on what's going on. And he knows that, like, there's no tech, but there's 3 gates. So that's pretty good intel, I would say.
Now, there are 3 Stalkers that were just warped in over here. And I think they could just barely, nope, not quite. Looks like they could just barely stay out of range of that, the Widow Mine there. And we have another warp in of 3 more Stalkers.
Is he really going to get anything done against double Cyclone, double Mine?
That's what I'm kind of wondering how does he crack open that location? Maybe he wants to use the Adepts to bait certain mine shots. There is only 1 unit inside the bunker, so that's not really that significant.
You're right, that is what he's doing. He's planning on just walking at the last second here and dodging the... Oh, beautiful.
That was actually a little bit,
fantastic.
That was kind of crazy, the little mind game we saw happen there as far as control goes. Now, is the ramp walled in? Yes. I believe it is, yes. Okay, so the Adepts can't shade in and start killing workers. It's really going to be a lot of tension, or at least it looks like it was. His Stalkers are now moving back around, but it was going to be a lot of tension there just outside that second base. But I think GuMiho handled that very well. And, and if those Stalkers don't break in there, eventually you have to turn around.
Mech. He's going to go mech against Protoss. This is so exciting.
Oh, look at that. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, another factory's coming down
here.
See,
this is why I do love GuMiho, but at the same time, the same reasons why I love him and love to watch him are the same reasons why I'm like, I don't know if he's going to get out of this group. He's going mech against Protoss. We have not seen this work in GSL basically ever. In fact, he did pull out a few last year, and they didn't really work out. I mean, we'll see. He is right now at an advantage, in my opinion. Okay, I don't know what this is going to look like, his mech play, but his third base was super fast. His Hellions did enough. All those early units that Classic made did 0. They really, truly didn't do anything. So I look at this, and I definitely put GuMiho at an advantage, but I don't know. I guess we'll see how Mech works out against this.
You know, it's funny. It's always been like this in StarCraft, where there's usually a more mainstream unit composition. That's the textbook understanding of the game. But we'll oftentimes see this offshoot unit combo. For instance, Mech in StarCraft 2 in this matchup, where people have done it, does not seem to have the same success rate as, you know, a more traditional unit comp. Let's say Medivacs with Marines Marauders coming out and just trying to push. But if you master this style of play, it's generally something your opponent hasn't really been able to practice that much against. So really, just like we were talking about with GuMiho early on, you're having to play by his rules.
Yeah.
And a lot of what Classic might have prepped for it doesn't really matter now.
It's such an important fact that, like, the Mech player is coming in with all the cards. Like, the Mech player plays against Stalkers and Charge Lots all day, every day, right? But how often does Classic play against this exact strategy? Well, unless GuMiho decided to practice against him, which I doubt, not at all. So that's definitely an advantage in that regard. Now, where does GuMiho go with this? He's making some Liberators, cool. Going Siege Tanks, has a decent amount of Cyclones here. Couple of Hellions on the way, but of course, Classic, you know, he's doing things that are pretty good. He's getting upgrades. that's always nice, right? Going up to 2-2, getting his charge.
You know, I do want to point out something, is that even though we call this Mech, this is sort of a different style than the traditional Mech that's been referenced all the way from StarCraft 1 to most of StarCraft 2, and it's because the Cyclone's a little bit of a different unit. This is more of a mobile Mech.
Normally, it is a bit more.
Normally when we talked about Mech throughout the majority of StarCraft 2 and basically all of StarCraft 1, Mech also meant not mobile, much more of a position game, much more of an explosive amount of damage when the fight starts out, so that their army doesn't even really get to fire first. They lose a lot of units. This style is a little bit different, and that's because of the introduction to the Cyclone, making it a lot more of an army comp that you can get in there and pick a fight, and if you don't like how it's going, you just turn around. It's not like you have to have siege tanks in siege mode and commit, which makes it a little bit different. And I know that we've had Protoss kind of struggle with the way that the matchup works now with the Cyclones bunched up, especially with Cyclone damage output. It's so high, it fires so fast.
Yeah, indeed, that's true.
By the way, man, I think this Warp Prism could go right into that mine.
If he loses the Warp Prism, this is going to be a pretty devastating blow, because GuMiho's army right now is not to be messed with. He has a better army at this moment, for sure.
Okay, hold up. A little blink forward there. And you can see GuMiho scanning the army, identifying, okay, what does he have? Sets up a position. Now, the Liberators, I think they're just south of the screenshot. They're actually set up in a spot where the Warp Prism could also just end up flying through there, which is kind of funny.
I think they're actually zoning for it at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they'll come up to meet the army, but like, he went out, he saw the Warp Prism there, right? And it's like with the army right now, but okay, he's brought them out. He's taken his 4th base as well here. And this is a really scary army. There's a tech transition that's starting here for Classic. He's already been getting +1 for a while. GuMiho knew that. He scanned and saw the core moving. But yeah, he's going into possibly carriers, possibly Tempests. We'll see about that.
This seems a bit ambitious here by the Protoss. Is he actually going to commit to this?
Okay,
he's going to come in now, and actually the Zealot's doing a great job. Classic is going to end up losing all of these Zealots, and there's a point in time where the Zealot number gets small enough that you have to run away, because if the Zealots aren't sponging up the damage, then you are going to lose that fight.
He's utilizing these Stalkers as best as he can right now. Have to back away.
So, as always with Mech, what the Protoss will try to do is run forward and make the Terran siege up and then run back. And you're not really interested in actually full-on fighting the army. If you can see a fight you can win, you'll take it. But really, you're trying to keep them on that side of the map. And you can see Classic's rapidly expanding here. He still hasn't taken that free base in the very, very upper left. But he's doing a good job. He's keeping the Mech player sort of boxed in here.
I got to point out here that I just saw, like, the scan happened, and I believe, we weren't looking at it, but I believe that he started a carrier during the scan. We don't know if GuMiho was looking at that, but he saw the 3 Stargates. He's going Mass Cyclone at this point. Mass Cyclone, like, the Cyclone is going to be the weaker of units against the Zealots.
Well, he's not still making carriers, is he? I mean,
no, he's not. He just started one and then canceled.
Yeah,
so
which is pretty
mind-gamey. Yeah.
And from here, it might be GuMiho with, like, the wrong unit composition. He might have a bunch of Cyclones, and it's just a ground army with, like, Immortals and Zealots. some Stalkers, of course, to come in there and pick that fight, and that may just melt everything. And while Classic is keeping GuMiho really honest on this side of the map, he's continuing to expand, and GuMiho needs to act pretty quickly here, or Classic is just going to be too big.
All right, here we go. GuMiho moving out. He has those Hellbats in the front. There's not actually that many Zealots. It's very Stalker heavy, and Stalkers will not fare well against this army whatsoever.
Yeah, it seemed like the positioning of the army was not really ready for an engagement here, and so GuMiho is actually going to go directly for the fight now.
Oh my God, just a ridiculous hit right there with the Raven going forward right now. He blinks forward. The Liberators do set up, but the Siege Tank's not even going into siege mode. He will devastate that army.
I think this might be the beginning of the end here. He's going to just push right through here and then probably head north and just wipe everything out in his opponent's path. And there's not enough of these key units. With this last Immortal about to go down, it's just going to be tier 1 units and whatever can come out of the Robo in time. And I think we are probably going to have GG here.
Nothing left over for Classic whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean,
no, he's dead.
Yeah,
he's at 74 probes. Like, I don't even think he's playing. He's not making any units. I think he's just sitting here thinking.
Well, I think just processing the loss. I mean, this was a kind of an odd unit composition that came out here from GuMiho, and it worked. GG, GuMiho takes game 1 in this best of 3.
Yeah, really, really cool mech play seeing out of GuMiho right there. I think that's a particularly good map for it because he could take that third base so quickly. In the back there, being so safe. Very well done by GuMiho. I bow to his mech prowess, but the next game probably won't look like that. Classic now is queued in that GuMiho does have mech builds ready.
Yep.
And so, like, for instance, the early opening of Classic there, you cannot underestimate how far ahead GuMiho got, because he's sitting there, he makes 3 Adepts at home, then 6 Stalkers, right? And he's trying to put on pressure. All of his upgrades are slower. His third base is slower. And what he's playing against is a very fast 3 command center against which he does 0 damage. So, like, this really did set him behind. If he had gone, let's say, a fast third Nexus against this play instead, he's going to have way more units at that first engagement.
Well, let's also point out that Classic went with a gamble there. When his tech was spotted, once GuMiho had lost vision of that, he actually canceled it entirely, which means he was hoping to win a ground fight. If he doesn't win that ground fight, clearly he loses. He's not developing into anything more sophisticated. Maybe that was a bad call there by Classic. That's a call that takes about 2 seconds, and you got to commit either that or stay with what you were up to. Anyways, let's go into game number 2 now. GuMiho versus Classic.
Season 1, Code S, Daybreak.
Some great play that game from this one.
Psystorm Gaming, GuMiho.
It's funny because what Classic tried to do, in a sense, worked. Obviously not by winning the game because he lost it, but the fact that he forced GuMiho into a certain unit composition. But it turns out that unit composition was fine against ground.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk more about that as well.
Classic.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Like, I strongly believe that against mech, you should open blink. I think that that's a good play. It's good at stopping the various harassment options that mech has. The thing is, there's no standard mech, right? So against various mech things, various openings as Protoss could be stronger. Of course, this is a fact. But
I love you guys. Thanks for coming down.
No, you guys are the most handsome nerds.
Ooh, well played, Artosis.
Yeah. But look, again, I think that blink and then charge and then carriers. I think that this is the right idea against mech, but I think there's an in-between step. In my opinion, you should be getting Storm before carriers. Because exactly the type of army that GuMiho is going for, this is not a spread-out slow push against which Storm would not be good. Like, units in StarCraft 2, they clump up a lot. A big mass of Hellbats and Cyclones, if you don't have any splash damage to deal with that, you are going to be in some trouble. So I feel like Classic almost got it all right there, but, you know, the thing is, the play in general against mech isn't mapped out well because we see it so infrequently. But
yeah,
I think that if there's one thing for Classic to take away there, if he has 2-3 Psy Storms, GuMiho cannot push him so quickly. It's like it can't happen. You can buy so much time with that.
You know, I like what you're saying there. I'm curious, how much gas would you actually need to have to be able to get the Storm up and then also get the carriers out? Because one thing about carriers is that it takes... okay. It's gonna die now.
Well,
it takes so long to get carriers out. Like when you're actually playing, it's funny how naked you feel when you're trying to tech to them.
Yes, you're right about this.
Because it's this long, slow battle. By the way, this is a sick opening here by Classic.
Yeah, this is cool.
He is completely slowing down this command center, and this is going to have big impacts later on here.
I do want to point out, though, that just the way that his economy balanced. He eventually had some Archons in there. He also had 21 Stalkers against Cyclone Siege Tank. So it's like, well, it's hard for me to believe that you can't be going Side Storm there.
He might have actually been so intimidated by the Liberators that then when he realizes the ground army is the actual threat. By the way, if he were to ever get this to cancel, that would be insane.
I think he's going
I
to.
think this could actually be end of the line here.
He's just trying to add health with that SCV right now.
He's just trying to buy time. This is really good control here by Classic, man.
Yeah, it is. It's super good.
Guys.
That Zealot's actually a problem.
Oh! He needs to save this command center. Okay, that is so huge.
Yeah, that's really nice.
This game has been slowed down to a crawl for the Terran.
I like this counter, though, right? He's going to go into Cyclone drops, which against no blink, this can do some work, especially if you look at some of the building placement that Classic has. He has a wall out front. He has a pylon powering these buildings that you can hit from the low ground, and his blink isn't going to be done for a while. Like, I can see this Cyclone drop actually being worth quite a bit here.
Now, that being said, if Classic shuts down the Cyclone drop, there's like not options for...
He's deaded at that point.
Yeah, he is. He's dead. And actually, hold on a second. Is this going to go right over this? No.
That would be too much.
This is... Wow. Like two passing ships in the night. Yeah, he's just out of the vision. Okay, hold on. Oh, my God! Oh, he notices at the last second.
Yeah.
I think they both realize the position they're in. So the Cyclone drop's going to come up. Now, I guess...
Cyclone is range 5 or 6.
I think 6.
We're about to find out.
Unfortunately, this is not really the damage that you're looking to get. I mean, even if he gets the pylon, that's pretty neat. Oh! Get it! No!
Hey,
yes! No! Yes! Okay.
Dude, 2 Stalkers and a pylon for just some damage on your units. I mean, that's not bad. It doesn't rebuy your command center, but it's not bad.
It's not bad. Well, yeah, I mean, you take what you can get, right? I don't think that's going to be enough for GuMiho to feel comfortable, but it looks like he wants to follow this up. Okay, so he's going to repair these Cyclones. He's going to try to follow this up with a push. And surprisingly, Classic's actually moving out, knowing that even though... Whoa!
Well, Classic has Blink, so he definitely wants to do something, but if you're sitting on the high ground here, those Stalkers are not going to find an easy way up, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, he's going to try to just go around here.
I love this. Concussive shells on the way. Continued production of the Cyclones. Really cool.
Oh, actually loses one Stalker there.
Some decent micro on both sides. The concussive shell is really going to mess with these Stalkers as well. Like, this is such an anti-Stalker army that GuMiho is creating at the moment. Marauders and Cyclones.
Yeah, I mean, if there's an overproduction of Stalkers here, they're going to lose the fight. And this is GuMiho being a real tactician now. He's going to try to push out. The pacing of this game is probably awkward for both sides. I mean, GuMiho knows that he needs to do something fast. At the same time, Classic gets this lead, but has to try to map out how to maintain it from a very aggressive GuMiho. And it looks like, shield batteries are going to be coming down.
Is he going to cancel this? Oh, he's going to let it finish?
It's like the exact last moment. Now, we do have force fields available, and there's only one medevac here. Wait a minute, is this just too much?
Well, it certainly looks like it. The Immortal definitely can do some heavy lifting here, but not enough to clear this army out.
I'm worried because I think the Stalkers die so fast, even if the Immortal can be helpful.
Here comes the Marauders as well.
Yeah.
Popping in here. Wow, that Immortal really doing a lot. Oh, my God.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the Marauders left over, I think, okay, this is just funny. Did he actually do it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think this is just enough. Now, there's a second Immortal out. Remember how much that first Immortal did. Wow, he's going to try to push in with this. And look at this. He can be right in front of the Cybernetics core. He takes that out. You can't make Stalkers for a little bit.
Oh, man. Yeah, and he had canceled charge before. He has restarted it, but...
Okay, this Immortal might be doing too much damage. He needs to pick it up. There's no Warp Prism to juggle it. And when it's all said and done, it seems like he's been pushed back at least slightly. There's another Immortal on the way. he is desperately trying to stop this bunker from being made. It looks like the SCV has been picked off.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, you're right. There's one right over there. I think this is enough stalkers, so he should be able to just blunk this one, right? Just blink right on top.
Well, he's got it held now, and he's going to have another Immortal popping out. So that is a held push right there.
Kind of a crazy push, man.
Yeah, certainly.
GG, GuMiho taps out. I got to say, I don't know what was scarier, GuMiho in Game 1 or Game 2, considering the Classic handled the opening so well.
Yeah.
That was a nail-biter of a push right there at the end. And the moment that he realized he had exhausted his efforts, he taps out and says, bring me into Game 3.
That was pretty crazy. That was very difficult for him to hold on against that. But, wow, this is a great series so far.
Classic making some very slight adjustments early on, punishes GuMiho, and really forces GuMiho to show his hand early. But I will say, GuMiho looked pretty damn terrifying with the drops, with the pressure. I think there are many other top Protosses, even GSL Codes Protosses, that might have lost during that push.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you on that one.
It is a real tribute to how good of a player Classic is that he held that. We're going to go now to the third map, Ascension to IR. Keep in mind this group is super stacked. Either the two that lose here could still make it out by going to the losers match and then the finals match, but certainly you would want to try to stay at the top of the group and go on to the winners. So
that's the hope.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect in this TVP. It's been a lot of build order countering and trying to play around each other's styles. Anyways, our game's ready. Let's go.
GSL Season 1 Code S Daybreak.
What is this music?
I don't know.
We are always mixing it up here at the GSL. Different soundtracks.
Sidestorm Gaming, GuMiho.
You say we, really, it's BK. You and I are broken records at this point, man.
Oh, yeah, we are.
We've almost put together every sense as we can. We need some of these guys that change their IDs so we can be fresh again.
Classic.
You think Classic's going to try to do something similar to what happened in Game 1? Or, sorry, Game 2?
Not this game. The map is a bit longer, and you know it doesn't seem like he didn't put his gate on the low ground like that. It made sense for the rally at that point. I mean, I think he can just play a normal game. Greetings.
Oh, PUBG Esports ready.
Gold Minerals owns. Maybe that said gold medals. I want to believe it did. I didn't read it quick enough. I'm actually going to the Olympics tomorrow.
That's right.
Gonna have fun. Gonna watch the women's hockey gold medal match, USA versus Canada.
That's gonna be sick.
Yeah. That'll be fun. And then I'll be back just in time for Code S.
Yeah, guys, we have Code S tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Yeah, that's
gonna be the after hours GSL.
Yeah. This one's gonna be a different flavor for sure.
We're gonna be way edgier.
All
the kids are gonna be in bed.
That's right.
That's right. It's gonna be the R-rated GSL.
Guy's a great artist.
Yeah, some cool artwork there.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of artistic people are into StarCraft.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, StarCraft really fits both types of people, right? The scientific minds, because it's such a scientific game. There's so many numbers involved and that type of thing. But it's also like a game of self-expression. It's a beautiful game.
Well
you look
said.
at things like Micro or different ways that people like to play. This is the greatest game.
So we have a Stargate coming up here. That's tucked right in the back of the main here for Classic. It looks like the Reaper's going to come up here. I think he should be able to come up here and get it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe not. Looks like he wanted to try to see if he could nab a probe. Look at this.
That's funny.
Okay, he does get up, so he will have confirmation. Not too crazy to see a Stargate here. It's kind of par for the course of the matchup. And it looks like he's going to get one probe. Nicely done.
Right.
Can he actually get the second one? Oh!
Nope. Love to see what health that probe's at.
Yeah. Kind of sad we didn't click on that.
Well, he sees the Stargate. That's important. I'm not too surprised to see a Stargate opener here. This is going to allow him to scout what's going on. And obviously that's important. He needs to see if it's going to be mech or not. This game, it is not going to be going into mech for GuMiho. It's too bad. I was really kind of hoping. Whatever happens, I want to see GuMiho against Deer. So whether he wins and then Deer has to win, or like, you know, the other way around, maybe both of them lose.
Yeah.
I want to see some more GuMiho TVP tonight, really badly.
Well, this is sort of a funny group for all the players because there's a chance you play the same matchup twice. Like, for instance, GuMiho could have to play multiple TVPs here. So, you know, it's a situation where every game that you're showing to us as casters and to the viewers, but also to the other pro gamers that are here, you're showing them some of your style. So you have to think like Deer is watching this right now and probably trying to come up with his own style. Well, hold on a second. This is kind of a crazy little maneuver.
This is really
He
nice.
actually breaches this location and can occupy the area by the minerals for a little bit, which is going to slow down some of the mining.
Yeah, I mean, it did all right. He didn't really buy that much, and, you know, he does some damage there to the Marines. It does a little bit of damage to the economy. But really, these are kind of like scouting units anyways. You're not depending upon this to do damage. A lot of the times, like, I mean, especially even Classic, this is a guy that sometimes just keeps his Oracle at home because he thinks you're going to be dropping him. So,
another shade in here. Trying to get a glimpse of what the tech is here from GuMiho, since GuMiho has shown some very abstract techs in the previous games that we've seen so far. Although this game does seem to be steered towards the direction of a more traditional Terran versus Protoss on the Terran side of things.
Oh, I really love this build coming out of Classic. This is fantastic. He scouted up there, right? And he sees the tech lab on the factory with those shades. This is such an important thing. It means that you're going to be seeing some siege tanks.
Yeah.
Siege tank timings can be good. But you know what really kills them, Tasteless? What truly kills siege tank timing?
Tell me, Artosis.
+1 armor in charge.
Yeah, Zealots will run over that.
Yeah, they make it look pretty bad. So I am thinking that this is a great counterplay. Now this push is pretty quick, so if he actually goes across the map with this right now, how many units really will we have here for Classic?
This is a very GuMiho-esque push.
Yeah.
Because it's one that it's very possible for Protoss to take out, but if the Terran player controls things well, and having a medevac in this group makes that much more of a possibility, because you have the option now to try to juggle. This is going to get here right when there's going to be 5 gateways finishing, by the way.
Yeah, he's going to posture over this. He needs some of these units to actually hit that ward. If some of the units hit the ward, then he's going to hold it easily.
Okay, hold up. He is just on the edge.
Oh my god. Okay, and he holds it. Well done.
And there's still one trap over there, so...
Yeah.
Okay, good call there by GuMiho. Oh, he's like, wait a minute.
Where there's one, there's two.
Yeah. Okay, this is a problem.
Oh, this is funny. Charge is just barely not done here.
Yeah. And from here, the tanks will be isolated.
Oh my god.
Which means that this fight is going to be very easily won here by Classic. Now let's see how much damage the drop can do. And in fact, if he targets down the medevac here, that's going to be just the end of all this.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. And so when it's all said and done, he gets about 5 probes. That's certainly not going to cut it. Now, the third base for Terran is naked. There's nothing defending that. I don't even believe he's really mining that much from it, but Classic has the option to counterattack. See, there's nothing over here.
This is looking very good for Classic right now. Man, that stasis ward, like he dealt with that so well with the double stasis ward and just kind of lured him in. Even just the way he was standing there, you know, the Oracle didn't do that much. I feel like GuMiho almost should have just sent Marines forward. This is not like an uncommon thing to see.
Yeah,
you see like 2 Adepts and 3 Sentries. This is like the oldest trick for Protoss to try to lure things onto a stasis ward.
I feel like it's standard for the meta now.
Yeah.
Like if you see their army out there, that's also where the stasis wards are.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would not be in that position. And I don't think
you're very right. Why would you be there? You'd be on top of the ramp. Why are you standing specifically in this spot? You have to think about that.
Yeah. It's like the position of your army should telegraph the location of the stasis ward traps.
Yeah.
Now notice, like, Classics had a very conservative response from here. He just continues to power up. He says, okay, I should already have a bigger army. Let's just climb towards the max out point in supply. I'm going to get Storm. I've got a Warp Prism, get another Nexus, Blink, and then I can attack.
Well, I think the only thing missing for Classic right now is a second Forge. But it's not like he needs it right now, right? He's up at +2 armor, which is just fantastical. Like, his Zealots are never going to die. He's going to have Psystorm and Blink. All the tools he possibly needs here. Ooh,
oh, wow.
High Templars in the
so this is so that they can't be sniped. He could also try dropping them around the army and trying to get hits there. And we'll just have to wait and see if GuMiho's going to be ready for this. I mean, Classic's really adding so much muscle to this army.
Oh my god.
I'm getting worried. Oh my god. Okay. Right now, Terran's on the run. These Widow Mines are going to have to reposition, and a lot of them go down before doing any damage. And I think if Classic can set up the proper arc here, he can breach this position. The only thing that I think is really keeping Terran with some sense of possible safety is the Liberators with some Widow Mines still under them.
Yeah.
But you can see that the Templars can just slowly edge in and chisel away at everything that's here to defend.
All right, here he goes, charging in once again, dropping out Size Storms. Oh my god, so many Stalkers here, picking off Liberators.
The Liberators are all gone, and this is so much damage. Classic continuing to warp in, SCV's being pulled. There are still 2 Immortals to help try to fight out in this position. I think he may have done it here. This is going to punt the command center onto the high ground, and I actually think Classic can just keep driving forward, right?
Yeah.
Just keep pushing in.
Well, even if this does not kill GuMiho, he's done enough damage that he has to be happy with it. And Classic is sitting here on 4 bases. That's it. GG. Classic going to take it 2-1. I mean, really cool series by GuMiho. But, you know, when he hit those stasis wards, already Classic was doing a counter build. And GuMiho, like, that push out was pretty good. Like, it was quick enough that Classic did not have many units. All he needed, though, was 1 good stasis ward. Whether that got Marines or tanks, it didn't matter too much. It's just like he needed to get something.
This is why we make these guys play a best of 3. As you can see, Classic throughout that series adapted. And even though GuMiho had a very strong showing, in a total of 3 games, it was Classic that came out on top. So Classic will go on to the winner's match. GuMiho now to the losers. So GuMiho is not eliminated just yet. And we will follow this up with another TVP here.
Yeah, Deer versus Maru going to come up next. That's going to be a really good match as well.
All right, guys, we're going to a break. When we come back, our next best of 3. Don't go away. We'll be back soon at the GSL Code S.